Alrighty, let's start this meeting. It's been a while, right?
At
Yeah,
practice?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I am. Even when I'm in practice, I'm out of practice.
Warm you up?
Yep. All right, let's we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
He starts at the bottom.
No, it's the top.
Paul's the top.
Pledge allegiance to the Everyone, please just take note of the fire exits behind you in case there's an emergency. So we'll go with appointments.
Let's do roll call.
Oh, Jesus.
You skipped right past
I
it.
missed it. All righty.
Kevin Scully. Present. Marcy Daniel is out. Chip Postiglione.
Here.
Steve Thaw. John Seeley.
Here.
Zach Murphy.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Noreen. So we spoke, we're going to do the appointment of deputy chairman, and I'd like to nominate Stephen Thaw. So if there's anyone would like to second that, or
I'll second that motion.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Steve.
Good.
And we're going to go and appoint the council. You know, Dave's not here. Should we just let him hang out a little bit? Right? What do you think?
Up to you.
Yeah, no. So I'd like to put it to the board to go ahead and appoint council Frederick, Nugent, and McCartney.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And now we're on to the meeting, approval of the meeting schedule. Do we have,
Fourth Tuesday of every month except May, it's the 5th.
yeah, I don't see a problem with that. Anyone see a problem? Even if we did, we got no say. So, we have to make a motion on that? I'll make a motion that that's fine.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yes, we got to do that. All right, we're on to a new project. Leibowitz, is there? Step forward, please.
And Jay Monroe should be on the Zoom call. Is someone?
And when you speak, just speak into the mic there, please.
Will be reminded.
Yes.
Describe it briefly.
I was just trying to see if we have good connection.
He's connecting to audio.
Probably just need to pull that a little closer, so when it lights up, that's when it's catching it.
What was your name again? I'm sorry.
Patrick Hutton.
Gotta pull it closer.
Better?
Yeah, you got to get really close.
That red light goes on,
Yeah.
your voice is being heard.
There you go. And what was the last name? I didn't
Feel
quite
very
catch that.
presidential.
Your last name, I didn't catch it.
Hutton, Hutton.
Thank you. Laptop, it'll help.
Yeah,
Heart monitor.
I don't know where that's coming from.
That's feedback. Just turn your volume down on your computer a little bit.
Matt, yeah. I turned my volume down, okay.
Okay. Let's see if Jay's coming through.
Jay?
Jay, can you hear us?
You have that switch up, right, on the mic?
Yeah, I see it says 165 on it.
Yes.
Yeah, it does. Blob, right? Some danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Oh, Jay is logged in there twice. Let me see if I could boot him. That kicked him out twice. Unless he left. Okay. Now he's in there once. That might have been the issue.
Can you hear us now? You good there?
That's what it sounds like, right?
Hi, Jay. We could see you.
While we're waiting for him,
Brief description?
Yeah,
that help?
would you-
Sure. My client's seeking to build a new residence on 34 Irene Court. The lot is currently 41,000 square foot. He needs 43,560 or a clear acre. His proposal is to tear down the old house and construct a new one. It will be larger. It will meet all the setback requirements and separation distances as per the town code, except for he cannot obviously enlarge his lot. So we are looking for either an interpretation that it's an existing legal lot, which it is, it's there, and that he can construct his new home, or an area variant so he could construct his new home on the existing lot. It's our contention that it's a legal lot, and we're not going to be constructing, the building is not in the setbacks now, will never be, it will meet for area, for coverage, it will meet for setbacks, et cetera.
so the zone in there is 1 acre zone, right? 43,560.
Right.
Right now, your lot is 41,161.
Correct.
And so you're going to propose, you're tearing the home down now,
Correct.
and you're going to be building a home on the same, you said it's going to be larger, a larger home.
It will be a larger home, but within the setbacks of the
Right,
district.
right. And when you're tearing it down, is it on a foundation? The home is on a foundation?
Yeah, the home is on a
So
foundation.
it has a basement?
Correct, yes.
So out of that, so when you're tearing it down, are you tearing out the basement, or are you changing the foundation? So it's a different.
The whole
different-
footprint changes,
It's a
yes.
whole different footprint.
Yep.
And so from the building department told you needed to come here.
Correct. For the, specifically, they stated 57-5, and the fact that it's in CR 10, and we needed 43,560.
Right. Is there any other, do you have any other variances on this lot? So, from when I was going over this afternoon and trying to get caught up to date here and looking at the maps, I think while you're in front, and board, just jump in at any time you think I'm going off the rails here. I believe why you're in front of us and why you're coming in front of us is because of the lot size in the home, and now proposing to tear the home down and make it larger. And I can understand why he's got you here. Do you have plans of the home that you're going to be building, or the gentleman's going to be building?
They were
Existing.
submitted with the building permit. But again, the size of the home will meet the requirements of the zone.
You have a map, not a map, a survey of the current existing home?
Sure. You want to look at it right here? I have it on this board.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So this, what I'm looking at here is the proposed.
Right.
this one has proposed. So the top one is proposed.
We're not gonna be able to hear.
Yeah, no.
I'm not going to speak.
So that's proposed, this is existing. This line here is the setback. They'll be right. That will be the setback.
Jay, we can hear you now, I believe. No. Or at least I can. Can you guys hear Jay?
Yeah, jeez, that was a nightmare. You guys, I'm sorry I couldn't log on.
Yeah, the only map I have is this.
Jay's speaking.
Yeah, I can see, but I can't hear.
You can't hear? Is there
Is muted on his end?
a way to turn this mic up or something?
You're talking, Zach, you're talking this, right? It's in your,
I can hear you, Jay, but everyone else is having trouble.
Is this property within 500 feet of Curious Joel? I'm looking at the map
No,
here.
off the top of my head.
Tell me if there's something I need to do.
I'm looking at this map here. Looks like it's right on the border.
Oh, not really. George?
I'm going to look at the map you gave us here in your submission. This is the property here.
Which,
and
what were
this
you
is
saying
KJ
to
right
Matt?
here. The block, so you would be within 500 feet.
I now
Okay.
I have it all the way up now. Oh, and this speaker. Am I doing that right? Yep.
Jay, can you say something for us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Must be muted on his end, maybe?
I could hear him, kind of.
Very, very faint.
So it's not muted.
Not muted.
Do you have any of your speaker on your computer?
I have it all the way up. Jay, is there any way you could turn your mic volume up?
I've got mine up as high as it'll go, unless there's a different setting.
That's getting better.
I've got it up as, I can yell.
Yeah, my volume's all the way up.
Mine's all the way up too. I can talk loud if that helps.
Might be louder on my phone. Try to log in on my phone. I'm gonna try to put you on my phone, Jay, because this is too low.
I'm on my phone.
Well, I don't want to say clearly is, but it certainly looks like it is.
on the map. It's
Yeah.
right there.
so this plan that we're looking at here, the larger plan, and I'm not referring to the smaller one that's in the packet, the bigger one that you have at your table. So this is this is the plot plan.
Not sure can I come up and look at that, just to see what we're looking at? There was a plan done where the proposed was overlaid on top of the existing.
Page
And
C1.
that's what I'm looking at, right. You got the proposed six-bedroom, right there, and I can see that, that's clear.
And then the outline.
Yeah. So the questions that I have, and this is right where I was before. This is the plot plan, and this is done by, is this by your surveyor here, as I'm looking at it?
MJS Engineering Land Surveying, we did the
Right.
survey.
So,
Again-
we don't have usually we like, and again, board, correct me if I like to stay consistent as I possibly can. We usually looking for a sealed survey or sealed plan with their raised stamp and their seal. So we would like to see that. So, make a couple of notes of a couple of things that we're going to be looking for. Oh, I'll wait for you to get set.
Here,
Thank you.
I type more on the computer than use a pen.
Yeah, so I'd like to see these plans and the survey with their raised seal. Okay?
Problem, that's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just a formality. We can absolutely provide those.
And I'd also like for the board to see the plans of the house. I know you said you submitted to the building department?
I have a copy of them here, but I don't know that, you
Yeah.
probably want to look at them a little more carefully.
Yeah, I'd like for us to get those there so we could look at it more and really see. I don't want to
Again,
rush.
I would refer back to the reference from the building department and Mr. Maldonado. He really is only asking for, and this is from him,
They have the letter.
Yeah, we have it.
I need you to stay
Yeah,
on
we
the
have it.
right.
he's really only asking for a variance on the area of the
On the air,
lot only.
the lot coverage.
Right.
Right.
And the coverage, it meets the lot coverage.
Yeah,
We
but it's
verified
still,
that for him.
even though I think what you're trying to ask us, because it's a home that's already there on a lot that doesn't meet the coverage. So now, it's still, the area should be 43,560.
In
And
other
it's-
words, an area variance would be required if it were new. Is that what you're saying?
Right. And, and it is 41,000 and change.
Right, but it was illegally, again, the code specifies a legally,
Yeah, but
constructed
you're
lot.
making changes now, right? I understand. I understand.
Right, well, we can't, but the problem is, we meet all the zoning requirements except for the area, which we clearly cannot
Right.
change.
Hence why you're here,
Right, okay.
right?
Yep.
I understand exactly what you're saying. So, again, what I'd like to see here is the survey or the plan with the raised seal,
No problem.
and I'd like for the board, the rest of the board, to have the plans, the new plans of the proposed house that you're going to be putting on there. This is
I'd also like to see it existing, a full-size existing,
existing.
what's currently there.
Yeah, well, it's, you could see it on here, it's overlaid on this plan, so
I'll
I got it.
you see
I-
it there.
yeah,
So
I
so
see
that
it.
that is there.
Okay.
So, and it's just, from what I read, I don't know now if I'm getting this mixed up with the other packet I had, so it's the area of answer, it's not a lot area coverage, right, so it's just,
No, there's no problem with
Yep.
the coverage.
so that's what I'd like to see. Any other board member jump in there, because, again, I'm nothing if I'm not consistent. So well, I'm not asking you to do anything that anyone else that comes in front of this board has done.
Fair enough.
And I think we've been pretty consistent with that.
Everybody we've ever come before, we've asked for that.
Right. This way, it just gives us a better picture of what we're going to approve, the differences of when we see the plan of the structure that you're going to build and how it fits into when we do our drive-bys
Sure.
and check out the,
You prefer paper or PDF?
I personally am fine with PDF.
yeah, everybody else?
Fine with me, yeah.
Yeah, PDF's fine.
Do you want to try Jay? Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead, Jay. Oh. Jay, go ahead.
Hi, okay, my turn?
Sure, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
We hear you.
Yes, we hear you.
Yes, we hear you. If you can hear me, I guess there were two things that we were requesting. One was an interpretation, the other one is an area variance for about a 5% variance for the lot area on this property. I think I'd rather focus on the area variance because I think we meet all the criteria for qualifying for a variance here. If going through the 5 factors in the statute, granting this variance is not going to change the character of the neighborhood. There's an existing house. We'd be building a new one. So it's basically replacing a home. A home is consistent with the neighborhood. It's a residential neighborhood. We won't change the character of the neighborhood. We won't have any impact on the environment. We're just simply replacing a home. It's not a particularly substantial variance. It's about a 5% variance. Usually, in my experience, I'm usually asking for a lot more. This one is not a substantial request. There's no other feasible way for us to increase the lot area. The other adjoining lots, I believe, are developed. And it is self-created, but that factor alone does not preclude granting the variance. So I think it's pretty straightforward. I can answer any questions. The house is larger than the existing home, but we meet all other setback requirements for the lot. So the house does fit without the need for any other variances. The setbacks in the side yards are correct. The front yard and the rear yards all meet the bulk regulations. So are we coming back because we have to submit the stamped plan?
Well, I think right now, you've gotten well ahead of yourself by going over the,
5 prongs.
yeah, those questions. So that would be done at a later meeting after the public hearing. So you're way ahead of yourself there. And what we've expressed here is that we want to see a copy of the survey with the surveyor's seal, raised seal and stamp. And we'd also like to review the proposed building house that's going to be put on the lot. So we're not even to the point of going over the 5 factors yet.
Well, listen, I mean, we're going to, if there's anything that, if we're coming back, it always helps me if there's something that jumps out at you now so I can at least address it coming to the next meeting. So I think we're in a position where we can analyze at least some of these things. If there's anything in particular that's jumping out as a concern, it would help if we could be told that now so we can, try to address it before the next meeting.
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. I'll say it again, what's jumping out to us right now is the 2 things that we're going to want to see to move forward, right? So I'm going to want to review those. The board's going to want to review those. At this point, I don't see anything jumping out. It's a process. We can't go from 1 to 3.
In which case, could we at least set a public hearing for the next meeting neither of those things are hard to come by. We'll be happy to provide them. They really have little or no bearing on the issue at hand, which is whether we can come up with another 1,500 square feet of property, which
You can't, in your opinion, little to no, right? So at this time, unless the board feels differently than I do, and I'm open for suggestions, I don't feel comfortable right now setting the next meeting and a public hearing at the same time. So I would like to get the chance to get the stuff that we asked for, give the board ample time to review that. We'll sit down again, if you get all that stuff, the next meeting, we'll go over that, the results that you're giving up, and then from there, we should be ready to set for a public hearing. But I don't want to get ahead of ourselves
Okay.
here.
Get that, Jay? This is Pat Hutton, by the way.
Yeah, I got, okay. I think, it sounds to me like, okay, listen, if you're not, if that's your preference, that's your preference. So, it's my understanding, so we'll be submitting stamped plans and a clearer picture of the proposed dwelling, which is going to be compared to the existing. Is that what we're looking for?
I didn't quite hear what he said.
Talking to your mic, Doreen.
Sorry. That we're looking for plans that are showing the proposed house compared to the existing house now, is what you want, and then the raised seal.
Right.
So you've asked for everything in PDF. Of course, we can't have a raised seal in PDF. So
Right.
that'll have to be, the survey has to come in hard copy, but the house
Again,
stuff
not an
can
issue.
be-
It's, and we can scan it with a seal or send a PDF that is signed, but that's fine.
Right, and then
I-
the house plans can all go PDF, they've agreed. So you just have to bring in the survey with the seals.
Not a problem. Not a
We
problem.
can't do very much unless it has a seal. It's kind of like our version.
Fair
of-
enough. We'll provide that.
Yeah.
Next
Notary.
meeting is the 28th of February, so submission date would be February 7th at noon.
I'll hope to have them to you by the end of the week.
Perfect.
All right.
Anyone else on the board? Any other comments?
No, not at this time.
Yeah, so I think we have a clear path of what we want to do there. Do we have to make a motion to do it, or no? So you get all that stuff in, and then we'll see you in the next meeting.
Appreciate your time. Have a good evening.
you
You
very
got
much.
it.
I
Have a good
appreciate your
night.
understanding.
Have a good night.
Anybody else?
All right, time to go home.
Returning projects, Homeland Towers.
All my meetings.
Yeah,
Down Westchester.
it's been a while since we've seen you, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, only about 2 weeks, right? We did
For the site visit.
the
people.
site visit.
Site visit, yes.
That was nice.
Good evening. For the record, my name is David Kenny. I'm an attorney with Snyder & Snyder, here tonight to represent the applicants Homeland Towers and Verizon Wireless. Matt, if you could put up the ZDs. So we're here tonight because, exactly as was previously stated, it's been a little bit since we've met with the zoning board on this project. We've been before the planning board for our last few meetings, reviewing the SECRA as well as the Ridgeline Protection Overlay District application requirements. So we had a site visit with the zoning board members and some of the planning board members on January 7th. At the site visit, we walked the site, and the main kind of feedback we got was we have an old logging trail that we're using as the existing access drive. The potential to maybe shift some of the pull-offs for that or change the contours to protect certain mature trees. If you can go down, Matt, a couple pages. That one would be fine. So we also discussed the potential of looking at an alternative location on the property, approximately 50 to 75 feet northwest, closer towards Blooming Grove. The idea being there was some additional trees that we might be able to use as better stealthing. We're reviewing that potential shift in location. It would be just a minor shift in location, 50 to 75 feet. Again, we'd be presenting that as an option. We did understand that some members of the zoning board and some members of the planning board actually prefer our original or our current chosen location. But that's just one idea or one factor that we're kind of reviewing with the planning board as a potential alternative here. Other than that, there's not much to be shown with the update to the zoning drawings. There's not been much added to that. Matt, if you could go now to the visual resource evaluation.
The question, I'm sorry, with the proposed possible change in the location of where the tower would be, is there an elevation shift? And if so, would that affect the total height of the tower?
That's exactly what we're reviewing. So we're reviewing to see if it's feasible first to even make this change in location, because obviously if we're going down in elevation and it requires a 20-foot taller tower, there's not really the trade-off or the better change in location. Also, we have to look to make sure that there's the ability for a leasing standpoint to do a change in our lease rights. That's not really a major concern. It's more from an RF standpoint to make sure. And then also just to review it from a visibility component, if this actually does present a better visual impact or a less visible tower to the area.
Thank you.
So I wasn't able to go with the walkthrough, but I've walked this property by myself. So was there anyone on the board able to go?
Yes.
So when you were there, so when you say you're thinking about another location, was that as?
It's still on the plateau.
Yeah, no, it's still on a plateau, but so that came from the walkthrough?
Yeah.
The thinking
Yes.
of that?
Yes.
And why?
The chairwoman of the planning board has been asking for this at the past couple meetings based on what we're going to review now is the visual resource evaluation. She just wanted to know if there was any way to shift the location 5 or 10 feet. And then when we walked the site, she looked at a particular area on the property and thought, could you guys at least review this as a potential change in location? The thought being would be it'd be moved further away from Monroe, and even though it may be more visible to the town of Blooming Grove, those people on that side of the town have power lines that go on just the other side of the ridge line, so all of their views would be through existing overhead power lines to the tower. And I think her thought was it takes the wind out of the sail of any kind of visual impact components. However, this is just an option being reviewed. It's not something that's we're even sure is feasible yet.
That's funny stuff to me.
So if you go to the,
I see nothing.
top one,
I
Matt.
see nothing.
In our most recent submission to you, we provided what was known as a visual resource evaluation. These are the photo simulations we did for the balloon test. So Matt, if you could scroll down, there's near the end of the report, there's an Appendix D that has photo simulations. So these are the photos we took during the balloon test. These are the leaf-on condition photos. As you may recall, we also had leaf-off condition photos included, which show that both year-round conditions. These are just the photo logs. These just show where the balloon was, and here's the photo simulation. So right here is the existing view. If you can go to the full screen mode, sure. And so if you can go down, Matt, to the next one.
Yep, just waiting on the computer.
Can you go to the next slide? Yeah, right there. So it was very hard to see right there, but there's a little dot right here. And this is where the tower is kind of shown. It's, very far off views at the bottom left-hand. I know better, right? So as I was saying, there's a little dot that was presented, that's the simulation of the top of the monopole. And then there is, at the bottom of each of these photograph information that states where the location of this photograph was taken and also the approximate distance to the facility. So if you can go to the next one, Matt. So this one is the view where it seems to be a little bit more prominent. This is, I believe, Round Lake. If
You can go up there with that microphone.
Sure.
Because I think I see it, but now I'm curious. This is like a game.
This one will be a little bit easier.
One back and forth.
So right here, this little dot, this is the balloon. So that was the balloon. This is, again, hard to see because we're about 1,000, we're about 4,670 feet to the tower. If you can go to the next one, Matt.
That's a shot from Lakes Road looking over Round Lake, pretty much?
This is Round Lake
up on the
Boathouse,
boathouse.
actually,
Yep.
right at
Yeah.
the boathouse.
Yep.
That's with it there.
And so this would be the tower. This would be the monopole tower. And again, one of the things we're reviewing here is a potential alternative stealth design of a monopine versus this monopole. The idea with the monopole is a little bit of a less is more. With this being, you can paint it any color, but with a galvanized steel, kind of blends in with the sky and it's a less of a visual profile. If you go to the next one, Matt, this is the monopine. So it's a larger visual profile because you have to put more stuff in the sky to hide the antennas. But the idea here is to make it resemble a tree. From this particular view, this is what caused the planning chair's concern or request to look at a different location, because if we moved it further to where we're going, we'd be further away from this location. Maybe it would be a little bit shorter or a little bit less in height in the profile view. We did submit, and it's been confirmed in our reports, that we are proposing the tower at the minimum height necessary. As you can see from other views, we're barely clearing the treetops. It's just from this view, we're a little bit above. If you can go to the next one, Matt. So again, right here is the balloon.
Where's that, like from Cromwell Hill condos?
This is inside
Exactly.
Cromwell Hill, yeah.
This
Yep.
is the Cromwell Hill Common condominiums. We did have a member come to the planning board meeting at the public hearing. She actually complained about lack of service in the area, and that, you know, she has a concern as being an elderly woman, not having that access to that lifeline. If she's in need for a 911 phone call and needs to make it from her wireless device, she says right now she has to leave her physical condo to actually go make a phone call. So if you can go to the next one. So this is the top of the monopole. Again, because we're just barely above the treetops here, there's not much to see. And if you go to the next one, this is the monopine. This is probably one of the views where the monopine looks best. Being at the same height of the treetops, it really blends in. But if you go to the previous view, there really isn't too much to see with that either, because we can paint the antennas to kind of match the sky or do that to reduce the visibility. And again, here is about 2,750 feet away. So again, because we're located on a property that's densely vegetated and rather large, the closest views from our tower are approximately 1,000 feet. We're about, I think, 1,250 feet from our tower to Quaker Hill Road, kind of Strauss Lane, Quaker Hill Road. So it's just, we're on a good property where you have limited visibility from surrounding areas just because you're so far away. If you can go to the next one, or the next one after this. Again, this is a view where the balloon is right here in these trees right here. It's right there. You can go to the next one. So here, right in between these dots, that's actually the monopole. Again, this is from...
Port at Lake Avenue.
Yep, and then this is approximately 6,760 feet away. If you go to the next one, and then this would be the monopine. And then you can go to the next one, Matt. This is over here at Quaker Hill Road and Old Quaker Hill Road. So the balloon, I believe, is right here in this area. If you can go to the next one. So we have right here. Again, you couldn't see the balloon in that particular photo because there was some wind conditions on the day. However, we know based on LiDAR exactly where it should be. So even though you couldn't see the balloon, we're still at the exact height that the tower would be in that location. And if you go to the next one, again, another one where the monopine, you know, seems to blend in with the surrounding tree height. Ultimately, this is still before the planning board. The public hearing was held at the last week's meeting. It was continued because we're still obviously reviewing whether it's feasible to do this shift in location. We would have to pinpoint that before they could make any final determinations on SECRA. But at the public hearing, we had 6 members of the public speak. 2 members of the public were in favor of the application because of lack of service in the area. 2 members were speaking out, admitted that they didn't live in the area. They were just opposed to a tower in town of Chester, so they came out because they were just in general opposition or general concern for towers. And then we had 2 members of the public that live close by. One lives in Orchard Street and the other one lives on 13 Old Quaker Road. Both of those we show from our visibility maps, the view shed maps that we use to determine the viewpoint locations, that the tower won't be visible from their properties. However, as an extra step, we're going to do line of sight photos to really show what the visibility would be from their properties. But we're fairly confident, based on the information we have, they won't be able to see the tower from their properties.
Are there any current photos now with leaf off?
So we can do the photo sims with leaf-off conditions. We have the photos of leaf-off conditions, and they're in the same area, but we can present those. Those haven't been requested.
That'd be great, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'd
Absolutely.
like to see that too. Who makes the decision on the type of pole, Noreen, do you know?
Sorry, I didn't hear
The,
the
the type of pole where he's discussing either the pine or the monopole, who makes that? Is it the planning board's decision to make that?
I believe because they're lead agency, they're the
Yeah.
ones who are going to make the final decision. But you can send input to them, and they will take it into consideration.
That's kind of the purpose of me coming here tonight. Before they made a decision, I wanted to make sure, as this board is determining the use variance, which is, I think, one of the major approvals
Right.
here, I wanted to make sure whatever is being presented is a design type that is both acceptable to this board.
I think what Steve, what you asked for is key to see,
Right,
these with leaf off,
Well,
right?
I don't think we can really gauge a proper decision as far as monopole or pine pole until we see leaf-off conditions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the biggest, nailed it, the difference between those two.
Absolutely. And I wasn't expecting a formal decision tonight. I figured we would at least maybe consider scheduling a public hearing and also hear if there's additional public comments from another public hearing before this board. But absolutely, we'll get you the leaf-off condition simulations as well.
Just out of curiosity, what color do you paint the monopole?
Any color, we can paint
No,
it.
like
Remember you
typically
saying
to
brown?
match with-
Usually it's
I
a-
would think it would be gray.
So usually it's a galvanized steel, and the way we do that is it patinas with the background of the sky, and it's not reflective with the galvanized steel. But
That could just
typically,
stay.
we've seen it painted light gray to blue to blend with the sky. Sometimes we'll paint it brown to blend in with like leaf-off conditions trees. Sometimes they'll paint it two colors, green at a certain height and brown at a lower height. There's a number of ways to do it.
That was more of a curiosity.
Sure.
'Cause I don't,
Whatever color is
I'm
is
sure whatever
chosen is
color you guys
ultimately-
think is best
Yeah.
is probably the best one.
Actually, I'm assuming, is that something the planning board decides as well?
So yeah, I think
Color?
one of the views is what is the design of the tower, and I think the color would be part of the design. Whether or not it's solely up to the planning board, that's for the town to decide. I'm here before this board asking for your input.
Yeah, knee-jerk reaction looking at this, but like Steve says, seeing a total picture would really clear it up. But knee-jerk reaction from myself, and I'm just speaking of myself there, with leaf on, I like the way the pine pole blends in because and not that you're going to be on top of it, and I've worked with poles. I'm familiar with it. There's the maintenance of that, the paint. It's not just one and done.
No.
Painting that. So it's a maintenance thing.
There's faux
'Cause-
branches, there's,
yeah.
every time someone swaps out antennas, they're
Yeah.
gonna have to do the right, but it's absolutely a design type that we do and we exceed at. We have, Matt, if you can go to the other components on the drive, I have an image on there. I have a photo of a tower that Homeland Towers actually built, so instead of a photo simulation, a real-world example. So either one of the image or the output image.
Mr. Chairman, what was the type of pole?
I preferred with the leaf on. What he's showing us the pine pole with more.
So this one is a tower in Connecticut. So this is a real-world example of a monopine. So it's hard to see, but at the very, very top there are antennas that are concealed in, basically they have like the same material as the faux branches, and they put them in socks.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, the designs of these towers 25, 30 years ago, they're much better today.
Yeah.
Some of the ones, they get,
Years ago,
the
they
pole
looked
with
like
the
a-
tinsel?
yeah, or they call them Frankenpines
Years
or
ago, it
toilet
looked like a
brushes.
Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
Yeah, right.
Or a toilet
Yeah.
brush, sometimes they call them, yeah. But
So-
yeah, they're much better now. They have better technology, the design of how to taper it and the branch
Yep.
density, all of that.
So then I guess it would be fair to ask, if I'm going to pick on the monopole and that maintenance of that, anything to compare the maintenance of like a pine pole on, the type of one versus the other, is it
So-
pretty much a wash or?
Monopine is obviously more maintenance and more upkeep because you have more pertinences on there. Those faux branches, sometimes they'll fall down. Sometimes the design of the tower and the tower owner have an intention, and then a third carrier will come in and kind of do their own thing, so to speak. So it's sometimes there's more to upkeep, so obviously there's
Yeah.
more maintenance involved.
So whose responsibility is that to maintain that and make sure that, it doesn't become an eyesore if they choose the pine pole?
The tower owner would be responsible. The carriers that would be there would be responsible. Generally, it's a condition of their site plan approval or a condition of their variance. So it would be a requirement that the tower be a monopine design. Any future co-locators that come in or anybody that goes for a building permit, they'd have to show that they're not defeating the stealth design. And then from there, it would also be, if anybody calls like a normal code violation, hey, we see that this tower looks out of shape, we're given a call for a code violation.
Two questions. Does the type of pole have any difference or any effect on the size of the pad below? And the enclosure for the fencing?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I mean, if we were going to do a lattice tower, but that's not a design type we're talking, that had a bigger foundation.
Okay.
But these types of poles, whether it be a monopole or monopine, it's essentially the same equipment compound, which is, again, a fenced compound. It's not a building. It may change. We may have a bigger foundation.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah,
Does
but
it
that would
change
be
the size of the pad itself?
maybe. So
Okay.
I'd have to review that with the engineers, and it also depended if they're going to be pinning to any rocks, or if they're going to do a casing foundation. So we haven't done the actual geotechs and done the foundation. We usually only do that after we get the approval to put that investment in there. Obviously, it has to be built to, withstand. So we have some design components that we put in with the structural design letter. But as far as the actual, what the foundation is, that's still to be determined.
And if, say, it were to be the monopine design, would the branches have any effect on the RF that it puts out? Does it have to be taller? Does it have to be?
It'll be approximately 5 feet taller. So the reason for that is because we don't want the toilet brush effect of it looking exactly straight up and down the same height. So it'll be the same top of the steel height, but what we do is we put like a 5-foot topper on top of it so that the faux branches have and come to a point at the top and appear more like a monopine or more like a pine tree.
But the fake branches don't have an effect on the RF that's put out from it, or?
They're made of RF transparent materials. That's one of the reasons why we used this design, is because it's specifically designed to work with the antennas and not interfere with the signal.
Okay, but it's yes to both, as far as the pad, the size of the pad could possibly change, and there is a slight.
Possibly, but it would be negligible. It's really an aesthetic decision.
Okay.
That's really what it comes down to.
And the size of the pole is very minimal if it were to go in the
Exactly,
monopine
and
design.
it wouldn't be the steel, so it'd be the same structure height, just that 5-foot topper to make it look more tapered.
Thank you.
Are there any different FAA requirements?
Not at all. So the FAA requirements are only triggered by height. So we would still have the no hazard to air navigation kind of determination. I believe we submit that with our application.
Types of pole have the same.
Yeah, it's really triggered by the height. So if we were above 200 feet, then you may get into the question of we'd have a monopine, but we have to paint it, red and white. But that's not the situation here at the 100-foot tower.
Flashing red light at the top.
Exactly, yeah. The Christmas tree.
So is part of your submission going to be some renderings that show what it's actually going to look like prior to? Is it possible to get a rendering of what each one would look like? Could that help us with a decision?
So what each
Different, either pole.
So that's what we have in the photo simulations. We have.
See the balloons, but
Well, like you showed
on
us
that
here what a
site,
monopine,
on that
can you
site,
show us what a monopole might look like as
Sure,
well?
we can give you a real-world example of a monopole.
So, I mean, this is
Yeah,
a great,
absolutely.
image of what a monopine would look like.
Yeah, no, this is a real-world example of
Right,
one they built. I can
right.
give you examples of monopoles they
And I
built
think,
as well.
correct me if I'm wrong, John, if we were asking would you have a photograph of a monopole?
propose that on the site where you just showed the balloons. And when we see actually what that's going to look like, where the balloons are.
That's what the
That was
photo
there.
simulations were.
Okay,
It was
I didn't
probably
see it.
probably hard to see because
'cause
you're
they
were there.
You're at the far end back of the screen.
Okay.
But they were on there, and then as part of our written submission, you should have a booklet you could flip through. So they are actually superimposed on there.
Actual height.
Yeah, at the actual height. So that's what the purpose of the balloon was. So the balloon was flown at the height of the top height of the tower, and then from there, that's where they had superimposed where the monopole would be.
A picture of a monopole would be great too, just so we can.
Absolutely. I'll
See
bring in
what it-
some real-world
see what it looks
examples. Absolutely.
How tall, do you know how tall that one is?
I'll have to confirm. I think that one is 120 feet.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think it has a lower elevation. The elevation
gonna
slopes
say,
down.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right, but you're in the backdrop of very mature trees as well.
exactly.
Yeah.
If you go to the next image, Matt, I know that's the one I actually got approved. So that one is exactly 120 feet. That one doesn't have the antennas on the top yet. That's just the monopine, the structure before the antennas went on. This is right after it was put up. This is in the town of Mamaroneck. This is in the center of a golf course, the Bonnie Briar Golf Course.
Actually, monopole looks like with this one.
Yeah, I'll get you guys some photos of monopoles. They're essentially the base of the tower minus the branches, but I'll get you some photo examples.
That would just be a magnet for my golf ball right there.
Yeah. Well, I think it was helping the people that are getting
Yeah.
lost finding
Yeah.
their golf balls. Although now the wives can call them when they're on the fairway, so.
Yeah.
They do not have a packet of those pictures. I never gave them to them.
Okay.
That's my fault. Matt has one because he came in before the walkthrough.
Well,
Oh, is that-
very soon you'll be getting a packet
Yeah,
of
yeah.
photos.
Yes, they're downstairs.
Speed kills.
So ultimately, all we're trying to do tonight is just give you this update. We're still a ways away from finalizing the application, but we would like to see the potential to schedule a public hearing, maybe in March if you feel we want to give additional time, just for the purposes
My
of,
only concern about a public hearing going that direction at this point in time would be that we don't really know what design we're going to be putting forth
Yeah.
yet to be able to comment on.
Sure.
As far as what design it's going to be, the location based upon what the planning board decides, I guess until we kind of fine tune those certain issues, that would be my only concern. I don't know about the rest of the board. as
I
far as-
agree, and I would like to see, like, the monopole because I'd like everyone on the board to voice an opinion on the type of pole there, so, at least we're heard. If we're ignored, we're ignored. At least we had a say.
Right.
Any idea how much longer you'll be dancing with the planning board?
I'm hoping at the next meeting, we kind of finalize those, whether or not we're shifting the location. We probably don't finalize whether it's a monopole or monopine, but at least finalize the location. And then from there, maybe they can take a secret determination. From there, it's really, we got to talk with David and with Ashley about where we put the application to make sure that your input is put into the application and heard by the planning board.
When is that next meeting? Do you know?
February 21st.
February, oh, yeah, because you're part of the public hearing. So
Yep.
you would be February 21st.
All right, so it's before us then?
Yeah.
At least, yeah.
Always.
Again, I don't expect them to make a final determination that night, and hearing what I'm hearing now, I will make sure that they don't make a final determination that night, so that we can come back to this board and get your input.
So then, would that be enough time for you to come back in February to show what we've been looking for, to help, to help
Absolutely.
facilitate it along?
Yeah, I
Right.
think all we're asking for is some photos, some monopoles. We can
Yeah.
absolutely get that.
Right.
It's just whether or
And
not.
the leaf-off conditions.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and the leaf-off condition simulations.
Great.
It's just a matter of I'm not sure the location will be fine-tuned at that point yet.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, I think that covers everything for me. You guys have any more questions on what's been presented to us? I appreciate it.
There's a shot clock letter that the planning board and also the zoning board have to. If you've reviewed the shot clock letter and you guys would like to make a motion, whether or not you want to.
Yeah, that surprises me, because every time it's been, we've always brought up the shot clock, and they always kept
bring it up.
telling
Never
us
seemed to
that
be a concern.
that it wasn't a concern for this
Right.
project, right?
Well,
Is it?
But it has to be brought up.
We're continuing to extend it, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
the planning board's attorney felt more comfortable that when we extend it, we put it into writing. So the letter is extending it to April 18th, but we've been routinely extending it. We'll continue to extend it as long as the application's being reviewed.
You guys want to authorize our firm to sign it on the behalf of the zoning board, you need to make a motion, but.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to extend it to April 18th. Is that what we're hearing?
Correct.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, the shot clock shouldn't be a problem, but it needs to be
Yeah,
addressed.
yeah.
Right, I guess officially on the
That's
record.
all.
The issue is, and it's a horrible issue, is if it runs afoul, it creates a 30-day statute of limitation for the applicant. So we don't want to ever get into that situation.
Sounds good.
Nobody wants it.
Yeah,
All right, we'll see you in February.
thank you very much for your time.
Thank
Thank you.
What is
Appreciate it.
the date of the February meeting? Sorry,
We're on for the 28th, I believe.
28th. Thank you so
you.
much.
What was
Oh,
that?
there was going to be a test tonight.
You pointed out that they said they're
Bring
not
my
within 500
calendar
feet
up.
of another jurisdiction. Yeah, let's put that, yeah, let's see if we can get that.
The other project, the new project that was in front of us?
Oh, look at the baby. Your daughter?
Community
Yes.
impact
How
form
old is
that
she?
he said
Now
he
6
checked off
months.
that he
She
is
was
not
probably
within 500
3
feet
weeks
of any other municipality, town or village when he.
Thank you, thank you.
And again, I'm just looking at a
Yeah,
map,
no.
I don't know what the
No
scale.
problem.
It looked like he was right on the border. I
Matt
brought
did
it to
it
his
today.
attention, he said he would verify it and get back to us on it.
Yeah, but that was a very casual.
Yeah, that was right in the beginning. You
Yes.
asked
Yeah,
it,
let's-
and it was kind of like.
Yes.
Noreen, can we
Brushed off a little
have
bit.
him,
So
was it
on the first submission, there's a
Leibovitz?
form here called the Inter-Community Impact Form for Yona Leibovitz. Number 1 says the property is within 500 feet of any other municipality, including any other town or village. He checked here, no. When I look at the map, it looks like he's right on the border of KJ.
I will have it verified, and then I will send
He's
it
going to have to
you.
verify
Yeah, just
what the
have-
actual distance is, if he is within the 500 feet. Matt, does that trigger a notification to that jurisdiction, to that municipality?
Yeah, and then I also have
Yeah.
to do a GML review.
Okay. So we just have to be aware of that on that application.
It might not be.
Right,
But
he
it
wasn't
looks like it
certain,
is.
but when you look at it on the map, it looks like it's right on the border there.
It's up to him to prove it.
Yeah, let's just make sure that he knows that,
Yeah.
just so it doesn't push stuff off.
Back to Jay.
Thank you, I appreciate that, Noreen.
All right, next up, you have something? What do you got?
No, I was going to say sorry about the Zoom issue.
No, Dave would. Dave would never have done that. The next up is November 22nd meeting.
Never sent them to you.
I thought
Not
it
voting
was.
Probably why
Is
I
anyone
was
else
about to-
having problems getting into the town email?
No.
No.
I struggled.
You.
I struggled.
Yeah, you had to get yours done on
I
Marcy.
didn't have to do mine.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
didn't.
log
I was
out
able to get
ever.
in today.
I never log out.
Really?
Yeah, good,
Never.
Yeah, I
because
don't-
Absolutely
I don't
never
log
log
out
out.
in there to get these
I
passwords.
don't touch
I
it.
just close the window on the phone.
I got an
and leave
app,
it as-
I press that app, it
Yeah.
just pops up.
Yeah.
I don't touch it.
All right. All right, so we'll skip that.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you don't have a meeting and then you want me to come back to another one. You know, too long, my brain forgets.
Right, there are plenty of time.
Wraps it up. Do we have to do a motion and
A motion to adjourn.
do a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're gonna be slow until interest rates.
Thanks, George, yes.